What's up, Guardians? Today we're going to be talking about the artifact systems and how I think it can be improved upon moving forward. Overall, I actually really do love the artifact system. I think it was a great introduction with Shadowkeep. I know a lot of people don't like re-grinding it every season, but I think that's actually a fun thing to do and a fun thing to look forward to and keep working on as the season goes along, as well as I like the fact that you have to make decisions along the way, but you also have a reset button that makes it so that none of your decisions are too permanent, because I don't think Destiny is one of those games where you're going to be making permanent character decisions because of the fact that there are 3 characters. You're always going to want to test out new builds and things like that. So I do like the reset ability, but I like that there's decision making that goes into the artifact tree. So today I just want to kind of talk about the artifact perks here and kind of go down the list and talk about where I think they can be improved upon and where I think overall the artifact system can be improved upon going forward, because I overall do like these mods a lot, and I just want to get right into it. So, for the first tree, generally, in the last 2 seasons, we've had our mods that are kind of like the shield piercing, we've had our disruption, and we've had the stagger, which work along with the different champions that come in each season. Last year they were all Vex related, or last season they were all Vex related. This season they're all Cabal related. We can assume going forward that there's going to be a new version of these champions. And overall, I like this system. I think, what everyone's been saying, these mods need to be able to be applied to exotics, because in high-level Nightfall activities, a lot of exotics are thrown by the wayside because these aren't available to be used on them. Things like Huckleberry, things like Sunshot, other exotics, especially the primary ones, really don't get a lot of use because they can't benefit from these artifact mods. The idea that every season only specific weapon types are going to be useful is also kind of frustrating, because then let's say your favorite weapon to use is a hand cannon, and one season these artifact mods aren't available on a hand cannon, then that feels really kind of crappy for the next 3 months using certain weapons that you don't like a lot. But overall, this system works pretty well. I like these mods. They would be just fine like this. I think it's a good place to start for your first perks. Getting into the second perk, we don't generally have a lot of weapon-specific mods. The thing I dislike about this column is that these mods are technically all available in-game already through Armor 2.0 system, and they just cost less perk points here, less energy points, sorry, which is okay. Ideally, I would want to either restructure this somehow or just delete it entirely, get rid of this section here, and do something more unique. Maybe this could be something related to subclasses or related to different characters. So you have a couple different mods for the Titan, a couple different mods for the Warlock, a couple different mods for the Hunter. Something like that instead would be interesting. I just think that the way weapons work right now is already pretty stale, and just having this mod system here is really boring and slow. You can kind of tell which sections I like and which sections I dislike based on the number of perks that I actually unlock here. So I've unlocked 2 here basically because I've unlocked 2 here just essentially because you have to unlock 2 to get into the next threshold, and really that's the only reason why. Going into the third section, these mods are literally all completely useless. Now, energy point wise, they don't cost a whole lot. Usually these mods give you glimmer, give you like weapon parts or something like that, gunsmith materials, glimmer materials. It's okay. It's really actually trash. Everyone literally unlocks 1 point in this. They'd rather get your points in your unlocks for your weapons and stuff that have to mess with the champions. And so I would scrap this entirely, or create a mod slot on the armor pieces specifically for these mods, so if people want to run them, they don't have to waste a mod slot, because these don't cost a lot of points, which is really good. The problem is when we look at our characters, we only have 2 mod slots available, and covering one of them up, what's it for? Covering one of them up with these, like, you know, really awful low tier mods is, like, really completely useless, and no one wants to do that. So, in my opinion, this section should completely be retooled, and I think what you should actually do is start incorporating these other tiered mods into this section. So something like, we have Breach Resonator. Last season we had Breach Refractor. These things being over here where it's more energy regeneration based on weapon kills and things like that. You could do grenade regen, melee regen, you could do super regen even. You could do all those kinds of things in this column, all about regenning, health regenning, things like that, through a bunch of different means. Melees, grenades, weapons, anything you want, heavy weapons, energy weapons, primary weapons, things like that would be really cool in my opinion, and it would be way better than this system, and these mods would actually get used in that scenario. One thing I want to say moving forward is that in order for the artifact system, in my opinion, to be at its very best and be the ultimate bright spot, the ultimate thing you're chasing after every season, we need to remove it from PvP completely. The mods should not work in PvP at all, and the reason for that is because if you do that, then you get to go crazy with it in PvE and really do whatever you want, because you know it won't affect the PvP sandbox. And I know a ton of people have been saying that, and I completely agree, and I've been saying it since Arc Battery was a thing. So removing it from PvP is not only a good thing for PvP players, but a good thing for PvE players, because our later mods could get even crazier. Moving into the third section, we have things like Breach Resonator, Molten Overload, Disruptor Spike, we have some melees that stagger. We have a lot of like things that once again work with the barrier champions. And again, maybe those things, anything that works with the champions could be in these first 2 sections. That way we're not using things like Enhanced Sniper Rifle Loader when it's already an enhanced perk that you can get in the game. We're using new things in these 2 slots rather than duplicating something and just having it there for 3 months and then removing it for another duplicate. And then in this section, you could add some of the lower ranking abilities in this section, so that when you're leveling up, you get access to some cool mods right before you get access to a whole chunk of really, really special mods. So things like increased subclass melee damage, or Guardian Angel granting healing orbs for weapon kills, things like that, the lower tier ones. Void Battery, those ones that people aren't currently using, but maybe would use a little bit more if they cost a few less points, if they were earlier on in the tree so they didn't have access to the full powered mods. Those things could be in this section, and you would have some really cool, awesome mods, and the whole artifact would be used significantly more in that scenario, because there wouldn't be so many top-heavy perks in the end categories that people are using and not using any of this lower quality stuff. Then finally, the last perk tier, go all out, go crazy, go nuts. Create things like Heavy Finisher, create things like Oppressive Darkness, crazy things like that, debuffs, buffs, anything you can think of, throw it in this category, because it's all just going to be crazy fun in PvE. There's going to be a ton of awesome builds that you can create around those types of abilities and those types of regens and things like that. It's all really, really good. Oppressive Darkness to me was the coolest mod in the artifact we have ever had. It worked great on Bubble Titans. Void Warlocks could actually be Void Walkers in PvE rather than Well of Radiance Warlocks. And Hunters could do some really cool stuff with their Shattering Melee and Oppressive Darkness. It's really, really cool, but we don't have that option this season. because we're filling it up with mods like Solar Plexus and Void Battery and Heavy Finisher and From the Depths, which I'm pretty sure this mod was literally transferred over from last season. From the Depths, once again, could be in a lower tier category. So really go nuts. What about if From the Depths was just a mod you could throw on at the end tier, and it would work for all Void Super Damage at all times, rather than just this time. So to me, that's what they should do. Also, lower the perk points a little bit so that you can run double of these in a single armor piece, or make them available anywhere on the armor pieces. Because if I want to run Heavy Finisher, I also can't run any of these other ones here besides From the Depths. So I think that these mods should be applicable anywhere, and I don't care if it breaks the game. I don't care. Like, it's PvE only at that point. It's fun to break the game. It's fun to one-shot Riven as a Titan throwing hammers at her feet. That's fun. The game should be fun. Borderlands lets you go crazy in PvE. Warframe lets you go crazy in PvE. Let us go crazy in PvE. Stop boxing us with this little artifact that doesn't let us do a whole bunch of stuff. So, I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope you guys think that these ideas are pretty decent, and I hope that going forward we implement some of these ideas and the artifact becomes way more fun to use and play around with. Because last season, Oppressive Darkness and other things like that, Arc Battery and PvP, were crazy fun to play around with. And this season, I feel like no one is talking about artifact mods because they're just not that interesting. So, hope you guys enjoyed. Otherwise, if you did, hit the like button, subscribe, and I will see you in another one. We'll probably get back to doing more build videos. I heard about another really cool Warlock build video. Also, I'm currently trying to... Currently, I'm trying to get all of these quests done, or at least most of them, in order to delete my male Warlock for a female. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed. It's been a little long. This video's been a little long, sorry. And I will get out of the way. Goodbye.